Hey, how's it going, guys? Today we're gonna look at the finished product right here. So you click on these things and refresh. We're using the for loop. Okay, so over here I'm going to start a new project. So let me save that. So now nothing's happening. It just refreshes the page because I got an anchor tag right here that just goes to index.html. We got 5 buttons. It's just no class, nothing, just buttons. No ID, no class. So we're gonna go over the for loop. So first of all, let's iterate and loop through these buttons and grab them all. So let btns equals query selector document query selector all. Okay, within our parentheses, let's get some quotes and say button. So we're grabbing all of these buttons into one array. Let's see, I think we need to make the screen a little bigger, so plus. Maybe one more time. Okay. So what happens is, let's console.log it. Console.log btns. Let's save that. Now over here, we're going to go into the console. Query selector all. Button. Save. Okay, here we go. So as you can see, it's an array. It's spitting out 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So within our query selector all, that's what we get. So let's make that for loop. So for, just gonna say let I equals 0. Since our array starts with 0, we're going to give it a condition now. The condition is as long as I is less than buttons dot length, I will plus plus. So as long as buttons dot length is less than buttons dot length, because length goes to 1 through 5. Since we're starting out at a 0 index, that's why we're saying less than buttons dot length. Okay, and with our for loop, we need our curly brackets. So what happens within our curly brackets, which is called our code block, what we're gonna do is say btns brackets I. Just think of I as itself or individual. So what we want to do is, when we click on one of these buttons here, we want something to happen. So let's pull this over. That's good. So when we click on an individual button, let's do .add event listener, and then parentheses, some quotes for the first parameter. Let's say on click. Okay, second parameter takes a callback function. So let's say equal arrow function. Okay, what happens within this arrow function now is our handling of the click event on each button. So let's say btns I dot style. So that's for our CSS. And then let's do dot background. equals, let's make it blue. Okay, save. Go over here and click on one, and there you go. So just to recap on it, what's happening, let's close this thing. Alright, what's happening is every time we click on an individual button, the style background will be blue. On the next line, let's do something similar. Let's also make the color. So change this background to color and change that color to white. Save that. Let's go over here and there you go. It looks much nicer. Refresh. So you can just pause it and copy this code down. I guess I can leave a link in the description. It'll take you to GitHub and you can just copy and paste it. But yeah, it's a fun little project. So also, you know, since we're learning the loop through things with a for loop, let's take an array. So I'm going to go down here, just bring this up. I'm going to paste in, here's an array, and let's loop through it and make something happen with them. Let's do something on the front end. So pull this over so I can get that X out of there. So very similar, let's copy this top line here. Remember, there's a curly bracket closing that we still need to add. So Control V, let's go down and closing curly bracket. So with our for loop, we're going to loop through nums. So change this to nums. So nums.length plus plus. So as long as I is less than nums.length, I will plus plus. So let's do something creative with that. So let's say, let's give it an empty string. Let string equals and just empty with quotes. So nothing, string is just, it exists. So we declared it so that now we can push something into it. So let's say string plus equals, well, let's put the backticks, and within our backticks, here's what we're going to add to strings every loop. So let's say $, curly brackets, and inside there, let's say nums brackets I. So you're going to add nums I to string, and every time there's one in there, it's going to add another and another and another. That's how it's looping through, because we're within the code block of this here for loop. So let me save that, and then down here below, we're going to should we console log it? Well, let's do this. So I put a p tag called landing array and a p underneath that anchor. Basically, we just want to push it in this here empty empty p tag. So let's copy that ID, and then so below our for loop, not inside of it. Let's just do new document. Get element by ID and paste that in there, the ID name, and then let's do .inner HTML equals, and then our string. So we're going to push out onto the page instead of the console. Save that. And let's make this bigger. Okay, document landing array is string for loop. Let's see, why is it not? So let's look into the console and see what the error is. There's one. Go to console. Let's see what's wrong here. String is not defined on line 48. So string. Oh, because it's only declared in the for loop. So let's actually Control X that out and put it on top of the for loop so it can be initiated globally. Save that now. And there we are. Yeah, because it can't be, if it's only within the for loop, the global scope doesn't know it even exists. It only would exist within that for loop. So yeah, that's how we loop through an array. You can think of this array as like a database, and it's kind of like doing back-end programming without all the connections and stuff. But yeah, that's how we do a for loop, and that's how they work. They iterate around, and I'll leave it at that. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.